So welcome back to another episode of Paths to the Past.
Yes, so we're down in Dorset enjoying a few days, and we thought we'd take the opportunity to explore the Maiden Newton station.
And not just that, we're going to explore part of the old Maiden Newton to Bridport line, which was closed in 1975. So as you can see from the livery behind us, this station was part of the Great Western Railway, and it had two railway lines, both opened in 1857. One ran from Weymouth, and the second line veered off at Maiden Newton and wound its way about 9.5 miles round to Bridport. Some sort of storage area here. We can still see some of the brackets here. In terms of construction, two main stone dues. We've got Ham stone, which is very common to the Somerset and South West area, from Ham Hill, a few miles to the north, and then this lovely flint effect.
It's like what you find in Norfolk on many of the buildings, especially in Norwich. When we've gone to Norwich, we've seen a lot of this flint.
So I think what we have here are the remains of the old main station office. There would have been a bay a few yards to my left here, which carried the line out round to Bridport, but sadly that is now long gone. But we found some pictures of what it looked like before its demolition.
I think this was a bell.
Yeah. No answer today. And then on the opposite side, what was the up line, I think, you've got that shelter again in Great Western Railway livery. As we come to the south end of the station platform, there were some goods and engine sheds just over there, but it's been replaced by more modern housing. But we can see how there was an extra line that met its end here, and we can still see some of the brickwork in place on that. And what do we have behind us? Only the signal box still erect. It's not used anymore, obviously, but it's great to see this building still standing. I think this particular one was built around 1930, but we'll check that fact and put it up on the screen for you. Yes, it appears that this signal box was opened in 1921 by the Great Western Railway and ceased to be of use in 1988. And here's a photo from 1973, 2 years before the Bridport line was closed. It's lovely it's still here, but you wonder if it could be turned into perhaps some sort of little museum about the history of this line. Let's see if we can get around the back. Remains of a side door there. Around the other side. Lovely flint on this side as well, and the shelter. So these days there's a concrete footbridge over the tracks, but back in the day there was a cast iron one, I believe, and I think we found some pictures of that too. Yes, here it is, and I believe it survived right up until the late 1960s. One thing you do get to notice from up here that you don't see from ground level are these rather decorative chimney pots above the old station building. And there's one on the other side too, on the shelter on the downside, going for a run. So if we look here, we can see the remains of, I think maybe where a gate was fixed into the ground. But on second thoughts, I may be thinking it's part of this old canopy from the train shed where trains went out to Bridport. So the track bed of the Bridport branch would have been down there. You can still see the platform edging on this side, but no access to the line, because obviously it closed 50 years ago. We're now heading on this trail northwestwards from the railway station. Now it looks really promising and really inviting at the moment, but unfortunately this section only lasts for half a mile and then the trail becomes totally inaccessible. Now we're setting off in a northwesterly direction to the point where the two lines diverge, which you can see on this old map here, towards the first road bridge across the track bed. So at this point in the video, we'd like to invite you to give it a like on YouTube. It helps with the algorithms. We'd also like to invite you to subscribe to the channel. It's absolutely free and you get to see our future history uploads. So thank you for supporting us in that way, and now on with the walk. Yeah, real shame that. Imagine a 9-mile trail going from Maiden Newton all the way to Bridport through the glorious West Dorset countryside. Imagine being able to cycle along here, walk along here, run along here, but sadly not to be. I think there have been efforts to try and extend parts of it, which we'll go into in future videos. So just about 100 yards northwest of the station, you can see the old station master's house, which was on the side of the Bridport branch of the line. Stunning views on the other side too. Something just through here, either an old milepost or a signal post. I'll try and find out from an old map what it might have been. Definitely something would have been in there. And another lump of concrete there. I think what I'm seeing is one of these features shown on this 1965 photograph. If you have any insights about which one it might be, please drop a comment below and enlighten us. Quite a substantial looking wall here. I'm wondering if the platform extended this far. We're just a few yards from the first bridge that goes over this part of the line. And back to that 1965 photograph. What we have here is this sloped siding on the right where the carriage is. Apparently carriages were shunted up there and then rejoined the main engine by using gravity to take them back down that slope. So you can see here the first bridge that was built for the main line, and then the little extension that had to be built when the Bridport branch was opened. And you can see that slope platform there on the left from this view from a driver's cab. This remarkable footage taken on one of the very last journeys to be taken along the Maiden Newton to Bridport Line. Now we are fortunate that we actually have some colour film footage of one of the last ever journeys along this line, because some enterprising soul made sure it was filmed in 1975. In red brick this rather than stone.
Now time to walk the next section of the line between the two overbridges.
This line was originally marked for closure with a beeching cut to the mid-1960s, but it did receive a stay of execution because of the poor state of the country lanes in this part of the world. This rather picturesque looking bridge takes the road from Maiden Newton up to Cattystock. So let's have a closer look, because there are a few features on this bridge that may be of interest. So what do we have here? Were they some sort of mechanism for hanging maybe a mailbag on that could be taken as the train went out towards Bridport? There's 1, 2, 3, 4 on this side of the bridge.
Actually, it's 5.
We tell a lie, there's a 5th one up there as well, just before the arch starts. So are the gas lights maybe? Does anybody know what they were for? Please let us know, we'd be really keen to know, because we have run up and down here quite a few times. Then at this end of the bridge, we have 3. So 5 at that end, 3 at this end. Answers on a postcard, please. No, actually answers in the comments below, if anybody would be so kind.
I'm always amazed by the structure of these bridges, how they curve round. Absolutely beautiful pieces of work, actually.
So far we've seen 2 bridges over the track. We will be looking at a rather lovely occupation bridge right back at the station at the end of this walk, but we're just going to go down now this track and see if we can find any more evidence of what the railway looked from beneath. Right, so I've come down about 12 feet beneath the track bed at the minute, and at this point the railway crossed the River Frome, which is down there. Now, as well as the wall up there carrying the track bed, we have another construction here in the same brickwork as the railway. So I assume when they were building the railway they had to build this tunnel just underneath to make sure the River Frome could still flow as it should be.
Another wonderful construction.
you want to get down there and have a paddle?
No, but I want to stand here and admire it, which is what I enjoy doing.
We have this contraption here, which looks like it controlled some sort of dam that could be brought down onto the river, perhaps if it had been raining too hard up there and they didn't want this part of Maiden Newton to flood.
Yeah, it looks like it could. That looks like a gate, doesn't it? Is that a floodgate?
Yeah, it's like a floodgate or a flood dam, yeah. So you can see the river flowing underneath us. You can see this iron gate that would have been lowered into the river to maybe dam it off to try and stop the flow. Maybe, actually, there might have been some sort of mill behind us to artificially make the river flow a bit faster to power a water wheel.
Well, there's a building up there, isn't there? House. Big
There
house.
is. In fact, if you look at this old map, perhaps that building was a tannery shown there, and we are at the site where a pond was created to provide water power for that tannery. We're not actually sure, so if you are local to Maiden Newton or an expert on its history, then please let us know in the comments beneath this video. This area is known as the Quar, like the word quarry but without the Y on it. But according to histories of Maiden Newton, this area was a quarry too. So anyway, there's lots going on that the railway had to take note of and take account of during its construction. It's going to go a few yards further down the river to see if I can get a better view of the bridge across the River Frome. So just going further along with the track bed up above us and see if there's anything else we can find along here.
The next point of investigation is where the line crosses this footpath.
Oh yes, an occupation bridge. Quite a high one, this.
Yeah, it's actually a trail.
Many trails. So we're on the north side of the lane and seeing what happens to the River Frome on this side. So the River Frome flowing that way towards the tunnel we've just seen. And a metal gate here perhaps, gate post. And then a steep track back up to the track bed.
Oh, we're going to go back that way.
We're going back that way. If you are here and you come under this bridge, do be very careful with your ankles. There are some old metal posts down here, probably from when the line was still in use, trying to keep people clambering up the embankment.
This is a very steep way.
And now to make our way along the remaining walkable piece of track bed.
A little bit further along the track bed, we are now really quite high up. You can't see it because it's so overgrown, but I'd say we're a good 20 to 30 feet up in the air. We're a good 20 to 30 feet above the level of the field below us. Nice place to sit if you want to look at a wild meadow. It's a lovely day in late May today, and get the aroma of wild garlic drifting. Makes me fancy some Italian tonight, maybe, or a curry
Oh, we're having a curry.
with some garlic in. I like exploring and finding things out, but oh boy, who went down there?
It looks like some bikes have gone down there, so you've got some really adventurous kids around here.
So if we go back to this amazing footage from 1975 and look very closely from the driver's cab, we'll see something that is a remarkable addition to this line. Something not directly to do with the running of the railway, but something perhaps even far more important. Something for which to the people operating and riding on this train in 1975 would have been very, very evocative. What we have coming up now is this amazing set of Second World War dragon teeth. So with the railway line now at a little overhead height, we can see something rather special that was installed in the 1940s. What do we have here, Dawn?
We have some tank teeth.
They're also known as dragon's teeth. Now there's a row along this north side of the line, and there's also a row along the south side of the line. There was loads of activity in the Maiden Newton area in the Second World War. There were Americans camped here, there were Canadians camped here, all sorts of training things going on, but this was part of stop line defences. Should the Germans invade via the west coast, the idea was to stop them at a line from Burnham-on-Sea down to Seaton, and this formed part of very important defences that, fortunately for us all, were never called into use. And on that train journey that took place in 1975, they can obviously be seen a lot more clearly than today in their overgrown state. So here we are back on the track bed. You can see one there for that tree.
Oh, you can see it better here, so you can see them better here. One that looks like it's falling towards the ground below.
This is an area of the country we visit frequently. We are coming back here in summer and we're going to be investigating the rest of the line. If you would like to see that content, then please subscribe to the channel. It's absolutely free and we upload history videos on a regular basis. Now, you can still see them on the north side of the track. I believe there are some in here on the south side of the track.
You see the top one.
Ain't going into those nettles. So sadly, this is where the accessible part of the line ends. Look, another dragon's tooth there. So there we go, found them. I think I'm on the track bed that, well, you can see you're not going to get very far that way, but the tank teeth on the south side of the line as well. And this was that very spot back in 1975 on one of those final journeys. And that, my friends, would make another 9 miles of excellent trail leading all the way to Bridport and on to West Bay, but sadly not to be. The road bridge and the inaccessible part of the line going off in this direction.
Oh, yes.
You can clearly see the track bed there. You can see a sign that says private, obviously only to be used and enjoyed by a selected few.
Although I can't see how anybody would enjoy it in that state.
It really would be great if this could be cleared and this track extended as far as possible, wouldn't it? What we can just see from the road here is that lovely brickwork on this side of the bridge. It's a shame it's so out of view and inaccessible for most people. But yeah, lovely brickwork there. From this point, the footprint of the line is still visible in the landscape, but sadly inaccessible for now. Just walk your loop back round into Maiden Newton before we take you under that occupation bridge, but we do see some Nissen huts. I mentioned that this was a very busy area during the Second World War, so some Nissen huts still in place in that time. Just walking back to the village, 2 more dragon's teeth here by the river. I think this might have been a railway inn I remember seeing on one of the old maps. I'll double check that. Does have the look of an inn. And indeed it was associated with the railway. So as we make our way back up to the station, you can see in front of us that lovely occupation bridge. So the final part of this video, we're going to go and check that out and see what we can see. Some evidence of the double construction around Maiden Newton railway station. So yeah, the old station master's house over there, still in private occupation and looking in splendid nick. So we have this bridge here, an occupation bridge. We know it's an occupation bridge because that trail that goes off was an old drover's road where animals were taken into towns and onto markets. Now as we go under this bridge, we find something very interesting. If you look very closely, it's actually been built in 2 phases. Up here, we're under the original track bed that went into Weymouth. Then on this side, we've got the bit of the track bed that carried the branch line out to Bridport. You can see that they're on 2 different levels. And then that ancient drove road, which is shown on the old maps, leading off into the farms of West Dorset. And the bridge, as it looks, as you're coming down from the drove road. Quite low on this side. And the platform just above us. Some little drainage holes here, let water through. And as we were walking away from the bridge, we saw a Great Western Railway train come in, so I used my running fitness for good use and managed to get up there in time to see it depart. And there is a lot that people get nostalgic about old railways. I think about the people who maybe built this railway and were travelling on it in the 1850s when it opened, and also those people on that journey in 1975. We hope you've enjoyed joining us for this investigation of Maiden Newton Station and the first part of the old Bridport Line. If you have, please give this video a like, and if you'd like to see us when we come back to Dorset and investigate further down the line, then please do subscribe to the channel. It's absolutely free and we're uploading history content on a regular basis.
So join us next time where every journey begins with a path to the past.